Let's
All
go.
right. Oh, let's go, Oliver.
Hello.
Hello, everybody.
Hello.
Hey,
Welcome, everybody.
hey
The
guys, how you
European
doing?
Town Hall.
So let me share my screen.
Awesome.
Hello.
Hey, Ken.
Hey there.
Hey, welcome.
You have
Yeah,
probably
so
the best
appreciate it.
sound here. You have the best sound system here, I think.
Yeah, I'm the guy who looks like he's the call center guy, though.
The sound is amazing.
Thank you. I try my best.
Very cool. So we basically have started already. And Ricardo?
Yeah, can you see my
sharing
screen? Actually?
Yes, we saw everything.
Yes.
All right. Great. So, thank you very much for joining. I hope we will get some more participants as we go along. First of all, yeah, I appreciate taking the time. I know everybody's quite busy building at the moment. And yeah, maybe it's a good idea to start with a very short round of introductions, as we are at the moment a small round. Marcus, would you like to introduce yourself and yeah.
Yes, of course. I'm Marcus Ubani. I'm with the EU Cardano team since a little while now, since September. And hi, boss. And yeah, I'm doing a lot of outreach and trying to get projects in, as everybody does in the team. Everybody has his own projects as well that we're fostering. So look in our Discord server. And first of all, create your own project in there. We have a dedicated space. And look out for our projects. If you like them, support us. We're happy to do that. I'm from Germany. I speak German and English. And so, yeah, that's me.
Great. All right. Ken, would you like to go next?
Sure. Thanks for inviting me, first of all. I appreciate it. This is my first time on the town hall, so I'm sort of excited to see what this is all about. Ken Alling, I'm the CEO and founder of MELD, Lending and Borrowing Protocol, and neobank launching on Cardano, as well as other blockchains.
Very good. Do you already know Nav from somewhere? Or you guys know each other?
I'm sorry?
Navjit already? Or
From Iagon?
I'm not sure if I've met Najit. I might have.
I think we've met once, but I don't think that we. I think we just said hi, and that's we haven't talked much, but we know. I think I know of Ken, so I'm not sure if he knows of me, but I know.
No,
of
you
Ken.
look very familiar. So
yeah. All right. Nav, if you want to go next and introduce.
Next time you have a beer together, probably when you see each other.
There we
Oh, I
go.
remember that one.
The next Cardano Summit.
Glad to be here. And my name is Dr. Natassja Aleksy. I'm the CEO, founder of Iagon. And sorry for any background noise that you guys might experience. I'm not at the best premise when it comes to video calls. But what we're working on for Iagon is we're shared storage economy. Right now, the focus is on storage, and later we're going to be focusing on compute. We're patent pending, not patent pending, we're patented, and we're basically have a team of about 20 people. We're offices in Norway, Poland, and in Australia, and we're working towards a goal of creating a Web3 storage economy right now.
Excellent. Okay, Davide.
Yeah, I'm a proud team member of the European Cardano community, and also I'm an indie game developer trying to bring indie game developers to Cardano with a project that is I'm currently building. I will disclose it probably pretty soon.
Very good. And my name is Ricardo. I am with European Cardano and also founder of a small and brand new nonprofit organization here in Germany, focused on the Web3 education, especially focusing on Ethiopia and Kenya. So our mission is basically to create projects here that add value with European people, also learning and taking the fears out and with whatever we manage to gather, collect, support young adults in developing countries. And yeah, I see Marcin is also there. Hi, Marcin. Welcome. And it would be great if you introduce yourself to the guys.
Oh, okay, so it's open mic tonight, yeah?
It is.
A small group.
Hey, it's a small group. Everyone is looking Cardano 360, I guess. It's
Yeah,
watching,
exactly.
watching, not looking.
Hey, Marcin.
Not watching. Hey, Davide. Hey, Davide. Hey, Marcus.
Hey.
Hey. So, just short, I try the same way like Davide, bring some fun into the blockchain. So we develop a small indie project now for more than 18 months. And the plan was that after the town hall, whoever likes to stay, I would show our current open alpha for everybody. But let's see if somebody's up to take a look at our current status. So you are welcome.
very good.
Super.
Okay. So then, without further ado, I guess we will start with our new mantra. Marcus, would you like to take over?
Yes.
Sorry, we skipped one. Davide. I was showing this all the time. Let's start with Italian, huh?
Exactly. Benvenuti all'esperimento.
Les choses peuvent. Hey.
Gibt da. Fehlende Dokumentation.
What is that?
That's, I think, Portuguese. Huh? Diferir ampliamente entre iteraciones. No, it's Spanish, actually, my native language.
Disorient, overloaded, inspire.
And our goal is basically to provide a safe and lively environment for you to explore the highest potential de la colaboración humana.
That's our attempt, basically, to make it all inclusive for all languages.
So that was the old mantra. And we are still working on the new mantra. And we invite you to work with us. And one of the most important, or some of the most important parts that we have found yet are those 5. And one of them is, of course, keep your notes up to date. Right? We're trying to be a friendly community to help each other. And so try to study or learn something new every day, because I think that's the best way to see and to support and connect with community members for synergy and goals. And that goes hand in hand, right? Be inclusive, friendly, and wise with words, even in anger. I like that one a lot. I think Twitter is so toxic today. Just be nice, be friendly, forgive, and share information without destroying dreams, people, or the reputation. I think that's also a nice one. But if you have your ideas, join us, build them, and we can try to improve them. And I think, Boaz, if you like to, you can translate them into Spanish. Can you do that?
Or French, or both.
Or French, yeah.
Can you hear us, Boaz?
Anna? Yeah, I can. I was talking for the intro, but I can. Gardez vos nœuds à jour. Essayez d'apprendre quelque chose de nouveau chaque jour. Sponsorisez et connectez avec les membres d'une communauté pour une synergie ou pour des objectifs. Sois inclusif, amical et sage avec des mots, même en colère. Échanger des informations sans détruire les rêves, les gens ou leur réputation. Merci.
Wonderful.
Excellent.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. I think also we have now Mao Andreu on the line. Mao, can you hear us?
Yes, guys. How are you?
Yeah, doing fine, doing fine. I guess
Yes,
so people
welcome,
got
Mauro.
confused with the time due to the shift of times here in Europe, right? So
Yes.
1 hour. Yeah.
Yes, we don't do that in Argentina, so the change time it caused a misunderstood from
Okay.
the time meeting.
Yeah. Do you have your camera with you? Maybe you can show yourself and say a few words about yourself.
Yes, give me 1 second.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I would say, as we are still missing out on Peter, we just shift the schedule then, if that is okay for you guys. So then we would start with Navjit and Ayagon. Hey, Mao, there you are. Sorry.
There you are.
Hey. And then after that, we would have Ken. And then if Peter is not there yet, we would just go on with Marcin. And then you could hop into the breakout room. We usually have 15 minutes, including Q&A. So you can decide how you want to structure the talk. Okay.
Very good.
Awesome.
Nav, I have assigned you co-host rights in case you would like to share something on the screen. But oh, you're on mute.
Yeah, sure. I mean, I wasn't. We have a presentation. I wasn't prepped for it, but don't worry, I can share. I think I have something that I can share. 1 second.
If you just want to talk, that's fine too, right?
Okay.
That,
I mean,
just as you like, just as you feel comfortable to do it. This is your place now.
Yeah, no worries. So a
Fine.
little bit first about myself before we get into it, and then we can maybe, and then I can share the pitch deck with you guys if you'd like. 1 second. Let me find it first. There it is. Yeah, there we go. Yeah, so a little bit about myself first. I guess that I was born in actually India. I grew up most of my life in Canada. I was raised up in Canada, and I did a lot of programming in high school, C++ and things like that. I didn't focus on that. As my parents, being from the Indian background, pushed me into the medical field. Which is nothing I regret, but this is kind of the Indian kind of culture where you have to be a doctor, lawyer, kind of thing like that. So I got pushed into being a dentist, basically. But I enjoy it, definitely. When I moved to Norway in 2013, so I did study 5 years in Poland, actually, as well. That's where I met my wife. I moved to Norway in about 2013. And I started my own business, which was a dental clinic. So my first focus was actually on healthcare in general. And I first got introduced to blockchain and Bitcoin in 2013. So I read the Satoshi paper then. It's just more so me being interested in upcoming technology, me being interested in, technology in general. So I was reading up on it, and, with skepticism at first. I think a lot of people had that fake money kind of thought in their head, how do you produce the fake money and things like that. But after you grasp the aspects of Bitcoin, financial freedom and things like that, you become very intrigued by the whole concept. And I wanted to imply that mostly on medical records, mostly security and privacy on using the blockchain technology for that. Even though it's open ledger, I wanted to use the security aspect of it. But I didn't come into that idea of that period because I had a lot going on in my personal life. So I had, 2 kids during that period. I had that startup for my own dental practice, which we grew from 0 patients to about 1,500 patients today on recall in about 30,000 area, a small village, but a village in a sense that, me being from India, the cities are pretty big. So in Norway, the bigger cities are considered, and Ken probably knows this, is there, bigger cities are Oslo, which has 700,000 people, but for most countries around the world, that's not really a big city. So I was living in a city called Hamar, 30,000 people. And we grew up a nice patient base. We focused on a niche. We focused on working on emergency patients and building up our customer base from there. And we grew up the revenue from 0 to about 10 million in the fourth year, 10 million NOK, and steadily growing. Now we have 3 dentists and 2 secretaries. And I started focusing on Aegon in 2017, early 2017. It was a good coincidence that that was the bull market, late 2017. So a lot was going on in the blockchain space, a lot of people becoming interested, and a lot of people talking in the network, especially on LinkedIn. And I reached out to a few of the people that are currently the co-founders. We have Dr. Rohit Gupta, we have Dr. Claudio Lima, and Dr. Alad Harrison. Each has a specialty that they're specialized in. Rohit, for example, he wrote his thesis on decentralized compute in 2005. He didn't finalize his thesis until he finalized his thesis, but basically saying that there was no way to incentivize the resource providers. So he finalized it like that. So it's kind of unfinished business for him. And once we introduced the token model to him, rewarding resource providers with tokens, he became very interested in finalizing his life's works. So a little bit about Rohit. He's a former director of technology for Expedia. He currently works as one of the senior managers in Google. He's working only part-time with Aegon on advice and direction. And we have Dr. Claudio Lima, who's also in the US. He's a former CTO Huawei in East Asia. He's currently advising a lot of entrepreneurs and enterprises on blockchain architecture. He's one of the co-founders here, also part-time, also advising the project and the direction. And then we have Dr. Alad Harrison, who's a machine learning expert. So a lot of the ideas that originated from Aegon was a combination of their work and my initial kind of vision of focusing on healthcare sector. But basically what we want to we focused on first the medical data, but then eventually broadened the scope into more generic storage, decentralized compute and storage that's optimized or managed by AI. That was the initial goal. And now our focus is first focused on the hardest objective, in our opinion, is the decentralized storage. And that's where we are currently. On the way we had, our vision was more so not a lot, it was blockchain centric, but at the same time, a lot of the things that we interpreted or put into the game plan was more business oriented. So we went business oriented first. So we actually filed a patent in 2018 that sways away from the open source idea, but we wanted to protect our idea because we saw that a lot of people were coming in with different ideas, different visions, and tweaking of the idea a little bit and trying to make it their own. Or maybe they got more funding, but we wanted to protect our time and effort, and that's why we went for a patent in 2018. And we focused on the patent first, and then created a more so business-centric kind of atmosphere, but also relying on blockchain technology as a layer to protect data and also protect the privacy of individuals at the same time. So the generic idea of Aegon, what makes us unique is we're learning the behavior of resource providers. We're taking into account performance, availability, trustability, different factors and location that are important for the end user. For example, location is important for compliance. A lot of compliance factors, it might sound simple, but premise of GDPR is making sure that data doesn't go outside of EU. And certain countries, you can't take the data outside the specific country. So we're trying to make a network where we're allocating the resources or the storage to specifically data providers that the user is interested in or have their settings towards. So if you are EU citizen and you want to be GDPR compliant, you want to store your data in specifically EU resource providers, not anywhere else. And that by premise, we can be compliant in different regions, in a sense that we can be compliant in different, even in the US, different compliances are all around the world. We can cater to depending on the end user's needs. That's the unique part. What we're trying to focus on right now is just the decentralized storage part. after that, we will bring on these factors or learning the behavior of the resource providers. How we store the files on the network, where we shard them, we slice them, we encrypt them, and the only person that has access to is the users that upload them with their cryptographic hash key. So the only access they have is through that. That's the summary, I guess, of Iagon, and we're focusing on, we released our first iteration, and it's available on our website, and people can log on and try it out, give us feedback. That would be good to engage the community on getting that information, and we hope to launch on mainnet by this year. So our aim is for Q2, Q3, and that's the aim to finalize at least the initial part of the project.
Awesome. Very awesome.
I have a question.
Sure.
Yeah.
If I may, regarding the GDPR aspect, specifically, there is the right to be forgotten, basically. And just curious, how you guys are managing this challenging part. Yeah.
So that's one of the most challenging parts, is making sure that data has to be deleted. And now IPFS is not able to do that, right? So it has to be delegated to the people that are providing the storage. And for people that want to be GDPR compliant, the resource providers actually go through a certain more strenuous KYC than people that are providing storage just for spare capacities. And end users that don't really care about their, it's up to them to be compliant, and they have a legal obligation, but they can choose not to store it in a different way or in a different sense, and if they want to, and these will be allocated to resource providers that aren't strenuously KYC'd on the platform.
So that means also, if you want to use different jurisdictions, you can basically have a checklist or so, and then you distribute it over the different regions. Is that correct?
Correct. Not just different
That's
regions, but specific data providers that have ISO certificates. Different data regulations require different kind of certificates as well. So we can allocate depending on what the user's needs are.
This is incredibly good. Very good. Awesome. What I would be interested in is
Great.
you've made
And so the main
Ricardo? Sorry.
Oh.
You made the transition. You made the transition from Ethereum to Cardano 100%. How is now the new experience? How is it? How would you see that?
Yeah, it's definitely challenging. EVM chains are, they have a lot of support. They have a lot of history and a lot of, let's say, information out there where devs can look at and reference to. Whereas Cardano, a lot of people that are building it's completely new, and they have to build it themselves, test it out, and it's it takes a lot more time. And that also relates to the actual the core language behind Plutus and Haskell. And that takes a lot of time to master, and also at the same time, it's very specific language, meaning that there's not many mistakes that can be made, and it's also time-taking. So there's two time factors here as well. So it's getting acquainted, and at the same time developing on the specific language. So it is a challenge, but I think it's a matter of fact that that's the challenge that Cardano took. Building the foundation, which is secure and working. That's the most important part, is making sure that the groundwork is laid out as the base is very strong, and building on top of that.
Now you have to really use the thinking time, and it increases that, right?
Yeah.
Yes, totally. Sorry, Ricardo. Now go ahead.
Yeah, I think my connection is not very stable, but I just wanted to say thank you to you for joining us, and looking forward for good things for the project, and for good collaboration going forward with the whole Cardano environment. And I can tell you that whenever you seek support, there is a strong bonding between the Cardano community members, and we're also here to help. If we can reach out to somebody, etc., feel free to contact us as well. We will try our best to help.
Awesome.
Absolutely. So if nobody else has questions, we could go on. Then we are basically good in the time frame. And feel free, by the way, Natassja, to create a project in the Cardano Discord server. I can send you that out later. So then people
Sorry,
can,
what did you say?
you can create an Iagon project in the Discord server of EU Cardano.
Sure.
And then you can post the updates in there. You can go wild with all the information in there. It's just for you. It's a dedicated space.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay.
Definitely will do that. Thank you.
Cool. Ken, do you want to go on?
Sure. If you guys
Melt?
want me to go,
This is also great. Looking
I'm
forward to
happy
this one
to.
too.
So as not to bore you guys to tears, what does anybody here not know much about Meld? Should I go from sort of the top down, or is everyone here at least a little bit familiar with Meld?
I'm not. So if
Okay,
you can start
great,
from the
super.
beginning, thanks.
Start from the beginning. So yeah, so Ken Olling. I am also just as unfortunate as Najit to live in Norway. Lived here for 22 years. My background is in branding, communication, and marketing. Did that for 25 years. Then in 2010, I moved into technology. I'd been working in technology prior to that, but I moved into it full time. So I've had a couple of technical startups doing mobile applications and what we now call metaverse from 2010. And then in 2016, I started moving into big data, working in the oil and gas business and the energy business. And then I guess in 2017, myself, along with a couple of other bankers, we started a bank. So we went to try to get a banking license in Malta. So we did that for almost 3 years. Malta was put on the gray list, the ECB gray list. And so then we abandoned that process. So I had a kind of crash course over a 3-year period going sort of neck deep into the banking world. It was slow, it was painful. There were gatekeepers coming out of pretty much everywhere. So in 2018, I did some consulting around crypto. I helped a couple of projects get off the ground in regards to their technical and their tokenomics, but I wasn't really that involved in crypto. It wasn't until 2020, my oldest son, he's a technical analyst. So he and I started spending a lot of time talking about crypto, and it sort of piqued my interest at that point. In 2018, it wasn't so interesting. It was more about the spin rather than the utility. And so in 2020, when DeFi came about, that's when sort of all the bits and pieces clicked, and it made a lot of sense to me in regards to what crypto is actually valuable for. So I was late to the party in that sense. So originally, my sort of initial thinking into crypto, at this point in time, I had, and I still have, a company that does industrial metaverse. At that time, it was called Digital Twins. Now it's called the Metaverse. So I started with Cardano, and I started thinking about how I could connect two of these worlds together. So basically, we used video game technology to be able to build factories or power stations or small cities or complex systems, right? So railroad systems, etc. And in the enterprise world, companies don't trust each other at all. And so I was thinking I could use the blockchain as a method for connecting these two pieces of technology or these two siloed systems together in a trustless manner where each of them can share data in a safe way and they can handle their commercials and stuff. So this is kind of how I got into Cardano. And so I did this for maybe 2 or 3 months. And then I realized trying to convince enterprise people that in 2020, trying to convince enterprise people that that blockchain is a good idea was just kind of going to suck my life to, I was going to be dead. So I abandoned that. And at the same time, around end of 2020, I had a whole bunch of friends that had been investing in crypto since 2019. And I would go play poker with them on Friday and we'd meet up for drinks and stuff like this. They were doing fantastic, right? They'd been investing since the crash and they'd invested very heavily and they'd invested very smart. And so all of them were millionaires at this point on paper. So we were going out to bars and we would go have a drink or we go have dinner. And I wasn't invested in crypto at all at this point. And we would go someplace and I was the one stuck with the bill. I was the one that had to pay the bill. But, you know, I was sitting around people that were like portfolio 7 million, portfolio 5 million, you know, this kind of thing. And you know, why was that the case? Because they couldn't get any value out of their crypto. They were stuck in all of their positions. They couldn't do anything with their assets. Most of them are expats. And so they had what you'd consider to be either a high risk or an impossible situation for them to be able to get bank accounts or be able to transfer money or doing things like this. BlockFi wouldn't touch them. Celsius wouldn't touch them. You know, Binance, nobody would touch them. And so I saw this as a huge opportunity. How can you create a non-custodial decentralized method for people to be able to lock up their crypto and then borrow fiat against it so that they could live their lives and so that I didn't have to pay for everybody's lunch? So that was the original idea. I started the project at the end of 2020 where I was working with a technical team and we were doing sort of prototyping and testing and, you know, sort of doing way too early, but nonetheless, we were doing sort of analysis and trying to figure out the architecture, et cetera. Then I built the financial model and the tokenomics in Q1 of 2021. And early April, I was ready to go and sort of talk to the world. So I put a deck together and I got an introduction to Silicon Valley Blockchain Society and I sent them the deck. I had a call with one of the founders and I raised $4 million in 2 days. It was a much more dire situation than I had anticipated in regards to being able to take your crypto and generate some fiat out of it. And everybody that I talked to just went bananas on the idea. And so that was in April. And then after that, we started the process. We started Meld. We started going out and talking to the community. We sort of built up the socials. We started, I think we published our white paper in middle of May, something like that. I was very unhappy with the way that projects raised money. So I really didn't like the way that, you know, either it's an IDO where bots buy everything up and they pump the price and you get nothing out of it as a normal person. Or it's accredited investors, which is kind of like, why bother? It's just a bunch of rich people getting richer. And so this was right at the time when, I don't know how long back you guys go, but this is right at the time when Occam did their IDO. And they did their IDO on Ethereum. And I think it closed, I think they didn't raise a lot of money, but it closed in like 30 seconds. And almost nobody from the Cardano community got any tokens out of it. It was all bought up by ETH bots. And so that pissed a lot of people off in the community. And it was a big uproar. And it was like, wow, why do you guys do this ETH? And it got me thinking of like, you know, there's got to be a better way. And so one night I was sort of thinking about this and I was actually listening to a podcast about the Occam thing. And it came to me that why don't we create a whole bunch of stake pools and allow people to stake in those stake pools and we keep the block rewards and in exchange we give them the tokens. So sitting here and I'm thinking about this and I called one of my advisors and he thought it was a brilliant idea. So I was over the moon. I was like, wow, I've invented a new way of funding in the crypto space. I'm such a fucking genius. And then I called my at the time CTO. And he said, oh yeah, they've been talking about this in Cardano for like 6 months. So clearly not my thing, but nonetheless, nobody done it. So this was probably May 10th. I spent 10 days doing a bunch of analysis and sort of doing the math on it. On May 20th, we announced the first ISPO. And we started doing some marketing on it. And then I think on the 26th, we opened up our first 2 stake pools. And then we planned on launching on June 1st. And on June 1st, we got $100 million in delegation to our stake pools in the first 24 hours. So it was this kind of, it was a total unexpected set of circumstances. So we ran our ISPO for 5 months. At its peak, we had $1.3 billion staked in our stake pools. We had 12 stake pools in total. So we raised a good amount of money. We had about 50,000 people stake in our stake pools. We got a whole lot of shit from SPOs because they were very pissed off that we were sucking all the air out of the ecosystem, which is fair enough. I totally agree. Yeah, that's kind of how we sort of launched our community and launched everything. So we did this, and then we did our token generation event in January, where we released our token. And so through this period, we'd been working on lending and borrowing on Cardano, the smart contracts and the mechanics and the tokenomics, etc. So that went reasonably well. Then I guess around April or May, the CTO that I had at the time, it became very clear that he was unable to do this. He just didn't have the chops for it. And so I replaced him and put in a new lead technologist, actually a person who was working on our team took over. And we were able to sort of change gears and get things moving a whole lot faster. So we'd actually managed to get a fully working prototype in 2 months that we hadn't been able to do in almost a year prior to that. So now, fast forward to where we are right now. We have all of our smart contracts live on testnet. Our interface is in development, but it's live. You can actually use it. All the smart contracts, lending and borrowing and liquidations, everything is live and running. We're doing this in collaboration with, I think, 8 or 9 other projects. Hosky, Wing Riders, Min Swaps, Charlie 3, a whole bunch of other people. And with any luck, we'll be able to go into mainnet sometime in May. But there's a couple of big gotchas that I can talk about a little bit later. So that's one side of the fence. The other side of the fence is that in order to be able to handle fiat, you have to have a banking license. There's no way around it. So about, I guess, August of 2021, I started focusing most of my attention on getting a banking license, going through the legal sort of rigmarole that you have to go through. So we've acquired now a banking license in Lithuania. That banking license should be registered with the government in the next month and a half. We're currently waiting on when you get a banking license in Europe, the application or the notification, not application, if the notification has to be sent to all the central banks in all of Europe, so all 27 of them, and they have to have a period of time for them to be able to protest or contest it. So we're currently waiting on that process right now. But if everything goes well, then we'll be launching our bank, our fiat side of the bank, June, July of this year. And we're basically putting these two pieces together, the sort of lending and borrowing component with a web-based app to be able to handle the non-custodial wallet, and then the banking side of things, and putting these two bits together. So that's kind of where the majority of our efforts and energies have been up until now. In addition to this, we are creating a side chain. So we're launching a layer 1 blockchain, the MELD blockchain, on a Avalanche subnet. So that process started about 1.5 months or 2 months ago. And we're doing that largely because our goal has always been to be able to bring all the blockchains together and be able to handle all of them, or handle the majors at least. And the way we kind of look at blockchains, we look at them as kind of liquidity pools. So each of them have a degree of liquidity that can come into the system. So we're not interested in only doing lending and borrowing with Cardano. we're interested in doing Bitcoin, Ethereum, Avalanche, Polygon, blah, 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 blah. Pick whichever, wherever you have your assets and be able to handle it that way. So the multi-chain wallet will also be launching in May. So the first week of May is when we're coming out of testnet with our wallet, which will have things like, you'll be able to connect, Nami wallet and things like that to it. You'll be able to do native Cardano staking. We'll have native support for other ISPOs that are running in the system. You'll be able to use that and connect to the Meld bank so that you can do direct fluid transactions between crypto and fiat. So if you, for example, at some point in time, you decide you want to take all of your dollars and you want to be able to stake them so that you can generate a yield with them for a period of time, and then you want to move them back to dollars, you can do that. If you want to buy crypto with your fiat, you can do that. If you want to DCA in, if you feel like at a particular time crypto is too volatile and you want to move everything into actual fiat, you can do that. So the idea is to create this very frictionless relationship between crypto and fiat, bridging the two things together, melding crypto and fiat together. That's the basic principle. So that's kind of,
Ken.
yeah.
First of all, thanks for being with us. It's amazing, also your personal story. I would have the question regarding the current regulation or regulatory framework in the US with the Silicon Valley Bank and all, this different perspectives and opinions about how this is going to affect Europe. What is your take? How are you experiencing, let's say, the regulatory framework in Europe, given what is going on across the ocean?
So I think you have to treat them separate. So in the US right now, it's a near impossible set of circumstances. Regulators are utterly hell-bent on being able to on anything related to crypto, anything at all related to crypto. So it's super hostile. I don't see any real positive outcome from this process. I had a call last night with a lobbyist that spent 2 weeks in Capitol Hill doing some lobbying, and he sent me a document from a law firm. And the document, it's a public research document called Choke Point 2.0. I'd never heard of this before, but it's basically this law firm documenting a systemic attack on anything related to crypto in the United States. And so I think that right now, my opinion, and this is just my opinion, this is not financial advice or legal advice, but my opinion is that the US is going to go into a period of serious hyperinflation. As a result of that, they could very easily see capital flight into crypto because it's the easiest asset for normal people to get into and reduce their exposure to inflation. And so I think that they're trying their best to block most avenues for individuals to be able to get into crypto. So that's kind of the American scene right now. Up until about 2 or 3 weeks ago, we had planned on launching our products in the United States as well, because we're launching our bank in 145 countries. I think at this point, after specifically Signature Bank, right? Signature Bank was the biggest sort of
onboarder.
Sorry?
Onboarder.
Yeah, it was the biggest surprise, right? So Signature Bank, I don't know how much you guys know about US regulations, but after 2008, you have this thing called what the hell is it called? Oh, I just drew a blank now.
Dobbs?
Yeah. What's it called? Dodd-Frank. You have the Dodd-Frank regulations, which are very similar to the Basel III regulations here in Europe. So Dodd-Frank Dodd from Dodd-Frank sits on the board of Signature. And he, when on, I guess it was on Sunday, when the SEC announced that they were shutting down Signature Bank and taking control of it the same way that they were taking control of SBC, of Silicon Valley Bank, he posted saying like, Signature's fine, there's no problems, we're okay. So basically they came out and they shut down the 3 crypto banks, banks that support anything related to crypto in the United States in almost, in like what, a month and a half. So they're going after ATMs, they're going after, you guys have seen sort of Coinbase and Binance. And so personally, I think that they're trying to minimize any potential capital flight, because at some point when you start to see hyperinflation in the US, people are going to want to get out, and they're going to want to get out fast.
Yeah.
So that's the US. Sorry, you had a question.
Natassja had a question.
Yeah, just a quick question. It kind of relates to the regulatory things, but I'm just wondering, what are your thoughts on CBDCs and how banks might want to use that as a control aspect, on people's wealth as well. So I think, what are your thoughts on that? And if you're how are you going to implement that? If
I have an existential crisis when it comes to CBDCs in the United States. So CBDCs are never going to make it. The Republicans are so absolutely hell-bent on not having CBDCs. It's a clear line towards what you see in China, right? I'm not a Republican in the slightest, but I can so identify with so many of their values now. Obviously not Trump, no. I'm not a Republican by any stretch of the imagination, but nonetheless, I do see their fears, and I think that is kind of the saving grace in the US. I think the Republicans are going to vehemently and fiercely block anything related to CBDCs stateside. I think that CBDCs in countries like Norway and Germany, effectively countries that have monetary policy that no one ever thinks about, chance for a period of time, but only for a period of time, until as soon as you start seeing, you can't spend it on this, you can spend it on this, why are you doing this? This, as soon as you start seeing the sort of the chokehold, then CBDCs will lose their value proposition outside of paying taxes. I think that's the one way that they're going to be able to enforce CBDCs will be by mandating that taxes are paid in CBDCs. So that's a kind of but I don't, they're never going to fly in South America. They're never going to fly in the Middle East. I mean, they're never going to fly in countries that have lots of cash oriented, just the level of kind of Orwellian control that CBDCs come with. I think that there's just too big a population on both ends of the spectrum, right? So you've got like one end of the spectrum, which is kind of people like us, educated, not super rich, but we're not stupid. And then the extremely wealthy, right? Extremely wealthy, the last thing that they want is to have every one of their purchases scrutinized by some sort of, set of regulators. So I don't think that they have a lot of, they won't have a lot of lifespan, in my opinion. I think it's just when it comes down to it, it's something like 97% of the US dollars are not printed. They're digital already. So effectively a CBDC is doing exactly what everybody is already doing. It just comes with rules. It's just not an open currency. It's a closed currency. And so that's
what I'm afraid of is that they're going to make exchanges or banks and things like that have it mandatory for users to exchange fiat to use CBDCs.
I think that some countries are going to want to do this. The US is going to want to do this. But there's a dichotomy that is happening right now. So you have on one hand, they're pulling in this very, very totalitarian direction. And as they pull in this direction, their control as a reserve currency or their position as a reserve currency starts to fade. And when they're not a reserve currency anymore, then they've lost all of their power. Right.
Yes.
So you've seen this already. You saw it in what Kenya just did a deal to buy oil from the Middle East in Kenyan native currency.
Yeah.
There was just a deal that I read about it
In
yesterday.
Chinese yuan or something, and
Yeah.
they're doing a lot.
No, it was the French. That's what it was. It was the French.
Yeah, the French were doing it in Chinese yuan.
Correct.
And I think these are the both variables when they come into play. When the US sees that China is coming into the market and the European regulation is friendly enough, then they will pull the trigger and turn around and see probably where they can hop onto the wagon.
I think
not to miss it.
Into a corner, right? So they're in a
Yeah.
situation where we are going to see hyperinflation in the US because they've tried to bottle it up for political reasons for such a long time, that when the genie comes out of the bottle, they've burned their friends so many times all over the world, which is why you see France acting like this. The France is not, they'll do what they absolutely have to do not to sort of be screwed over by the US, but they don't enjoy being under the boot. And that's how the US has treated everybody for the past, 25 years. So this idea of a free and stable currency and accessibility and, money flows and stuff like this, where that the US promised in the 1950s and 1960s and 1970s, promise has disappeared because the currency will just collapse if it continues to follow a standard model and sort of macroeconomics. So that's the US, but in Europe it's a bit different. In Europe, they're doing the same thing. Sorry, you wanted a question?
Yeah, we just need to keep a little bit on time.
Okay, no, it's fine. I'm done.
But it's
Go
super.
ahead.
It's
No,
super
no.
interesting. It's super interesting, and I would like to follow up on this one. So maybe if you have the
So
time
this-
one day,
or maybe we can have a second
we can have
session in
a
one of
separate
the
session on this one.
Yeah,
And,
no problem. No problem.
But just to have the turn back to Meld for the last question, and then we need to go on because Peter is also in the house now. Can you have a moderate yield structure, which is, I think it's good. It looks sustainable. Can projects bring actually their own tokens to Meld later? What do you have? There's a certain set of criteria, I guess, but just to give
There is
outlook
a
on
set of
liquidity.
criteria, but it's not a set of criteria that we define. So the ability for a token to be used in lending and borrowing exclusively has to do with its liquidity. So if the token has liquidity, then it's a liquid asset and it can be handled relatively safely. So you have this kind of correlation. The lower the liquidity and the lower the 24-hour trading volume and these kinds of things, the higher the risk, right? And at some point that risk gets so high. And then conversely, right? So if you see this with Liquid, right? Liquid, a competitor of ours, they haven't launched. They've launched with an ADA, JED pair. They've launched with one pool, one pair of the two deepest liquidity pools in the entire ecosystem only, nothing else. And so the challenge we have right now on Cardano is there is no DeFi. There is no liquidity. I mean, we're a big project on Cardano, and we've got our pool depth is $1.5 million, or not even that, maybe $700,000, and we get $200,000 a day in 24-hour trading volume. It's that's dangerous to work with. If at $200,000 in 24-hour trading volume, it's going to cost you $30,000 to move the price of the MELD token, manipulate the price of the MELD token. Not to consider just something like Charlie 3, right? Charlie 3, I can move the price of Charlie 3 by 10 or 15% with $5,000.
That's massive.
This is the challenge right now in the Cardano ecosystem. And it's a chicken and an egg situation, right? but they're just, the amount of liquidity in the space, the amount of trading in the space, it's just so low that we could do it. We could list any token, but we would wreck people right and left. And
Interesting, interesting. So when projects want to
And
apply,
what
they
about,
just
sorry,
write to you, basically.
I'm sorry, what?
Right. If projects want to apply, they write to you, and then you can.
I mean, we're this is a small
conversation.
community. This is,
Yeah.
you just have to ask. You just have to, like,
Awesome.
Jed, they just sent us a message on Telegram. Can we be on there? I was like, yeah, sure, no problem. Just send us a bunch of testnet, you're in. So no, it's not like a formal thing. You just, if you're a project, and you just ask.
So community, get on it.
Yeah.
That's what I would say, right? So
Absolutely.
Mauro, Edward, well, I would pass on your question into the server if you don't mind. So write it either in Meld, Discord, or in Cardano, and we forward it if necessary. Cool, Mauro. Thank you.
no, we would only have questions, but let's go to the next guest, I think.
All right. Peter, thank you for joining us today. We had a small adaptation on the sequence, but yeah, thank you for being here, and the stage is yours.
Thank you, Ricardo. It's great to be here, and I really apologize for being late. I got confused with the European time still.
So
the same happened to me. And
yeah.
Peter, congratulations to win the festival.
Yeah.
Thank you. That's really great
Big
news.
applause.
I will share it in just a bit. May I share the screen, please? May I ask for co-hosting, or?
Yes. One moment.
Screen share is allowed.
Yes, you can.
It should be allowed.
Right.
Okay, so I come from probably a little bit different background than most of you here. I'm documentary filmmaker. I work for television. I do educational programs and documentaries, and that's basically what brought me to Cardano, because I wanted to see, or I wanted to do, this blockchain class education for newcomers, or for people who don't know much about Cardano and about blockchain in general, because many people are curious, and I feel there is not enough proper education. So let's watch the trailer maybe first to understand what I'm really doing. So let me play just under 1 minute of the trailer here.
We can hear you didn't share the sound.
Sorry. Absolutely.
Peter, are you there?
Yeah, I think it's just about to.
Can you hear? Can you hear it now?
Yeah.
Yes.
If we use the blockchain and get rid of the middleman, we can automate certain processes that are easily abusable when carried out by people. A big advantage of blockchain is that you actually own the means saved in the blockchain. And if you have private keys, nobody can take them from you, not even the network.
So what we basically did here is that we filmed this in a studio in Prague, Czech Republic. And the guy you saw in the video is Jaromír Tesař. He's Cardano ambassador, and he's also SPO. He runs Cardanians network. He's actually one of the first people who did this in Czech Republic. And I was lucky enough to meet him, and we did the whole program together. We filmed everything in Czech.
The fundamental difference.
And after we did this, we did the whole translation, and we dubbed the whole program into English with professional actors. And the voice of this actor is Brian Caspe. So,
is that the coins are owned by Alice and Bob. And the network does not hold the coins, and the coins are only transferred when Alice or Bob request a transaction. The network can make the transaction, but it can in no way impound the coins.
The whole program is divided into 6 basic chapters. It really talks about the basic concept. What is centralization, decentralization, proof of work, proof of stake, really these nice beginnings for newcomers. It also goes with animations done by studio from Daniel Van Cast. Again, very easy, simple explanations with voiceover.
You can think of the blockchain as a book full of unerasable records with a fixed amount of info on each page. Each page is connected to the next one, thus creating a chain in chronological order.
Yeah, and we decided to do this visual background. We spent quite a lot of time on working with this blockchain-like visuals. It ended up being quite a work.
And each person
for our
takes this code and runs it
designer
on their own.
So, but I hope it was worth it. So the project is now completed. It has, as mentioned, six chapters, and it's fully available online for anyone who would like to watch it. And you know, it's meant for newcomers, for onboarding people to understand the basic concept. Another project I've been working on lately is Chasing the Wada Dream, the one we talked about briefly last time when I introduced the Newcast Film Festival. And as Mauro already said, we were lucky enough to receive Best Short Film award for this project. So again, no more talking. Let's rather watch the trailer.
Abundant. We live in a time abundant with different forms of information technology. One of the modern innovations that came into the world in 2009 is called blockchain. For many, it's an incomprehensible idea or a hardly feasible dream of decentralization. For others, it's a farce solely for speculators. But for some, this technology brings unique opportunities.
The impact potential that we can see with Africa is huge.
Pour que l'Afrique ne soit pas en retard, il faut donc intégrer la blockchain dans nos activités.
Blockchain is the future for Africa. It's come to transform our economy, it's come to transform our financial sector, it's come to transform our educational sector as well.
We want to give access to people on the continent and in diaspora to actually be part of this revolution.
That's the main thing, to give a voice and access to people of the African heritage.
So this documentary basically describes the first steps of WADA, which is an organization many of you know, and it shows how they work with education in Africa, especially in Ghana and Cameroon. We filmed on several locations. We had a special crew in Ghana, in Cameroon. And we also filmed in London and also at Cardano Summit in Switzerland. So it's sort of combination of all showing the basics of their work, really. And both of these projects were funded by Project Catalyst, so that's where the connection started. And yeah, basically that's the basics about my projects. I would probably leave the floor to questions if you have any. And yeah, that's it.
Great, thank you so much. Very, very nice videos, presentation. I would have a question. You know, out of all those hundreds or thousands of different blockchains, why Cardano? So what draw your attention, your passion to the Cardano environment?
Well, I strongly see the connection, especially to Africa. That's why I decided to do this documentary for Africa, because that's where I see the real impact, where the technology could be really used well. And I see it with the people. We already had first screening at the place, and you know, the response was really great. And yeah,
great.
Awesome. Marcin.
Yeah, did I miss it, or where's the link to the video? Or maybe I misunderstood this, because I'm checking the chat and I'm looking for the video so I can share it, because I love the that what you have done before with the explanation how the blockchain works and so on, Peter. I don't know.
Thank you, Marcin. Yeah. Well, this is the website down here, adafilm.art. That's the basic website. /WADA is for the documentary, but if you go to adafilm.art, you will see all projects there. There is the blockchain class, there is WADA documentary, and there are some short other videos, for example, explanation of Project Catalyst and other stuff.
Yeah.
And videos from Cardano Summit, for example.
Cool. Yeah, good to not easily to remember. Adafilms.art. Yeah, good.
Absolutely. Yeah.
How do projects work with you? How do they approach you? How's the rundown?
Well, in case of WADA, I ran to them thanks to Catalyst, really. That was our very town hall on Wednesday. That was the first meeting. And I think it was 2 years ago when we had our first meeting, and I actually came to this online meeting with my camera behind me, you know, like this. And I was thinking, it might be interesting. Maybe we can do some like real life first meeting filming. And they were, you know, a little bit scared, a little bit worried of what will happen. So we ended up not doing it. But yeah, 1 year later, we did the documentary. So
if a project wants to work with you today, how does it work?
Depends what you need. I had one project in my mind which was connected with Project Catalyst. It was about close reports, final close reports. So I thought when the project is finished, it's successful, they can reach out to me. We can do maybe interview or a short video together. If we are in the same area, that means I'm in Czech Republic, so I'm like flexible around Europe, but I can't go to Asia, for example. But I would love to continue supporting European projects. I plan to work with Alison Fromm, who's doing amazing work around decentralized identity. So that's one of my plans. But other than that, I'm open. I'm open to suggestions.
Wonderful. Very cool.
Guys. Well, thank you, Peter, a lot. It's amazing what you have done, and it's great to have people like you in the Cardano environment.
Glad you make it.
Thank you.
Then I think we didn't have it on the official agenda, but we announced it as a special guest, Marcin. Would it be possible that you give us some information on your latest alpha status of the AdaQuest world environment? You're on mute.
So we are finished, and I can now talk about AdaQuest. So I hope it's okay that I show you some progress. We got two things that we can show. First of all, maybe very fast our dungeon crawler prototype, which I will show super fast on our YouTube. Just a second. So let me take this from here. I closed this, sorry guys. So
Don't worry, Marcin.
Yeah. So let me forward this, because here I'm talking and this is where the action begins. So this was also funded by Catalyst. We did a God damn it, let me put down Discord. We did it with our game designer, Alex, and Simon, who is responsible for the Unity engine programming. And yeah, it is a prototype, and we are looking for additional funding and hoping, of course, for Fund 10. So here you go.
You need to activate sharing the sound, I think, when you...
Okay. So let me put it this way. Where I need to do this?
On the right of the share screen, there is a small arrow, and it has some advanced...
Share sound, I see it. Okay, great. Sorry, guys.
No worries.
So that's for the EdaQuest prototype, yeah, guys. And what I like also to show you is the current mobile alpha, which is available for everyone. And on every mobile device you like to play, I will share this currently in this browser tab because it's better. I just have to activate the sound, I guess. This is not too loud. If the sound is too loud, I will just put it down. So currently you look at the alpha game, and you can look here right now on the NFT, which is active, and you can choose from and create a character. So you go just to the character screen and choose one of the NFTs you have in your wallet. or you can also select a new one, and these are the data currently from the Cardano blockchain. Now I created a new character, and then I think about this, I can just equip it, yeah, with different weapons, like a typical RPG game. Yeah, you can equip different things. And let me just reload because there's a bug. And you can see here on the right side the stats that are, of course, influenced by the equipment you are using. You can go more in a detail mode where you will see this in a typical RPG, Dungeon and Dragon style. You can deep dive. We have prepared a nice guide for the arena mode, which every kind of detail you can imagine. So what is influencing what and so on. Because you see here, you got 4 main attributes like strength, resistance, agility, and intelligence, as for an example. But beside the equipment, you have also nice gadgets, we call it. You can, of course, see the detail of the gadgets and see what they are doing. There are different gadgets. Let me just switch very fast the character because I'm missing one gadget here. And the nice thing about this is that you can use the gadget for every character you like to, because we are not, ripping people off by having to, grind all the gadgets over and over again. You can use it as also the equipment, which are NFTs. You can use with every kind of character. You don't need to have to buy 10 of this axes or 10 of this armors over here to use this with 10 of your characters. You can interact with every kind of character by using just one NFT. Yeah, so that's very important. The same goes also for the gadgets. And beside the gadgets, there are abilities. Every tribe, like the dwarven guys, got different abilities. And you can also look at it and see what they are doing. Yeah, I will miss that part because this is all about stats and so on. So abilities, gadgets, equipment, yeah. And you see here already your damage output. And in the end, like a typical RPG, it is allowed to distribute points for your 4 abilities. Yeah, of course, you can apply them and they will have influence, of course. I don't like this here from the design because I like to put here a number instead of clicking all the time to distribute the points. But then the most important things comes that you are looking for players, and currently there's only me online because we had 127 people registered. And the thing is that, of course, this is what I talked on all the spaces in the last few months. Our project finally now out as an open alpha for 2 weeks now, of course, needs awareness. Yeah, and that's where all the marketing stuff come in. And I listen all the time to the presentation from Mert, because I know that you are coming from a marketing and communications part. So we are looking always for people who can connect us with not only Cardano environment, but also with different other companies and content creators and so on, to help out to bring the message to the public. And what will I do now is I will just log in into my test account on my mobile. Just a second, please.
Marcin,
yeah.
As long as your characters prepare like the enemy did in the end with doing the thing with the sword,
yeah,
all is fine. That was super cool.
Okay. Okay.
That was really cool. Was a
Okay.
really good alpha, by the way.
Okay.
Nice.
Okay. Thank you. But I like to show you some action, and finally the tournament we are running on the 8th of April. You can see it on our Twitter. It's already exploding, and this is what we are hoping, because we are offering 1,000 ADA to the winner of this tournament. So everyone here in the room is invited to be a part of the tournament, and all you need is one of these destinies. Yeah, and the destinies you can win on several giveaways, or if you like, you can email me, or if you like to support us, you can do it by just buying one and minting one on NMaker for 30 ADA. Yeah, so that's the current price on this. Yeah, we are doing this because, you know, interacting with other Cardano projects is much appreciated. Yeah, so we are looking always to connect with several partners in the Cardano environment. So finally, I managed to log in after typing in 3 times the wrong password. But seriously, the next step will be that you will connect with your wallet, because wallet integration and syncing is already finished. Otherwise, there will be no chance that you see this little guy here. But the next step will be, without any email registration, we will use the Eternal, Nami, and Euro wallet, whatever wallet, for you to register and to jump in right into the game without having to create a separate gaming account, what is now the current case. So
Again, a little interruption. Simon is asking about the email for the competition, and to give you a little bit of a jump start, maybe you send us the links later that you want us to share, and also create AdaQuest as a project in EU Cardano Discord. We have the separate area that we are working in, but we have a public one as well. Right. This is maybe also something for you. If you need another dedicated test space, then we can provide that in EU Cardano. Right. I know you have a huge community, but maybe there's something that you want to share in different areas as well.
Of course. I didn't know that we can do that. That's great advice.
Yes.
Thank you. Thank you for this. So let's finally jump into the action. So here you go. Okay. Yes. And now I will turn on the sound. So you see a preparation screen. I can see my enemy, and he's not so much equipped as I am. And it's a turn-based game. And since the elf has the better agility, he will go first. And this is happening on my screen. So he used an ability, and of course, my goal is to bring him down to 0. Yeah? So I can choose from several abilities and attacks, and you see I hit him for 70 points, and now he will do the same to me, but for 74 points, and so on. I'm now able to use a special ability. You see there is already sounds and some visual effects, and the timer is set for 50 seconds, so it's something like Pokemon, but with a limitation, so nobody can take, you know, several hours to make the next move. I can use a healing potion and go on with the physical. I hit him for 129 points. It's a critical hit, yeah, I guess. Let me see. Oh, 180. I blocked this. Yeah, so everyone out there will see this is something like, you know, a little bit of old school, but also a casual game, because if you are doing this right, you will be finished in less than 5 minutes, yeah, to play this. And this is our aim, because we like to onboard the casual gamers with this version of Ada Quest. And the other version we have already seen is more for the, yeah, not hardcore gamer, but also for something like you call always the core gamer. Yeah, the core gamer, and this is more for the casuals. God damn it, the elf has too much agility and he's always dodging or blocking. I like to finish it. Or maybe now, finally, thank you. So I won, and you see the victory screen, and usually there is a chest where you will be finally as an of course because you won this as an as a winner, you will be always able to pick up an NFT. Yeah, because our project is free to play. You can of course support us by buying the NFTs, but you will be able to earn all the equipment stuff within the game. The only thing you can't earn are these character skins, because, you know, in one way we have also to monetize. And speaking of monetization, tournaments will be the biggest part we are looking for to monetize. So there will be free tournaments and premium tournaments. And to participate in premium tournaments where you will be able to win ADA, or our native token, you will have to pay also in ADA, let's say something like 10 ADA to participate. There will be, of course, higher stake tournaments, like, you know, from poker games and so on. But we will have for every pocket a premium tournament. We will have leaderboards, we will have championships, and so on and so on. So this is currently the alpha. Everyone is invited to be a part of it, participate, play, test it. Bug reports can be sent on our Discord. However you like, you can be a part of this. And I would be happy if you will participate in the big tournament before Easter. Yes, if you got any questions, feel free to ask.
Yeah, so the quick wrap is, how do we join the tournament if you want to?
Yeah, if you want, just go on our Discord server. There is a channel tournament, and you click there to participate. There is just like a verify button. You can participate there, but you need a destiny for this. And please look out.
Then we all shout, yeah. Marcin.
Yeah.
Then we all type Marcin. Help.
You can type Marcin, of course, or you can DM me on Twitter if you like, or you see what our partners like PlayerMint, Eternal, and NMaker has prepared in the next few days. You can participate in La Petite Ada. She's also giving away some destinies. We are calling the heroes destinies. So yeah, you can test it without spending any money. I guess this is a nice option. Yeah.
Maybe I should add that the Web3 user group is also going to place some of the destinies somewhere in geographical locations.
Oh, cool.
Because I still have some from Christmas time. So thank you very much for supporting us at that time. Amazing. And yeah, I'm also involving the kids here in the small village in Germany where I live. So hopefully very soon you will have some more players.
Yeah, we are limited currently now for up to 256 players. The last time we have such a tournament, it was 64 players, and we will stream it on Twitch live. So we'll have also some guests. from IOG and also from Cardano and from the Cardano community, and everyone is invited of you, of course. Everyone can come up on the 8th of April next week, not this week and next week before Easter, and we start at 6 p.m. UTC, so it's 8 o'clock in the evening for all the European guys. Yeah.
Excellent. Very
Okay.
good.
Thank you.
Marcus, I think we should announce something for the next town hall, because we have something very, very special in that town hall. We have the Atala Prism product development with us. And because they're launching a couple of days before, we're really excited about that. And yeah, looking forward to see you there. And please help us spread the word and remind the people that there is this time shift now in Europe. Hopefully we'll have a broader audience. It seems the markets are starting to get a bit warmer nowadays. So looking very much forward to seeing the community a bit more optimistic going forward. Really appreciate your time, and yeah, all the best. Have a nice week.
Thank you. And the video will be uploaded as usual in YouTube if you're not watching it on YouTube already.
Okay. Thank you, Marcus. Thank you, Ricardo.
Everybody.
Thank you,
Have a good
guys.
day. Bye.
Bye.
Thank you all.
Bye. Bye.
Have a good day. Bye.
Thank you. Thank you for joining. It was amazing. Thank you.
Thank you too.